There's an assassination of two officers in New York. And once again, I'm not putting this on Barack Hussein Obama solely, I'm putting it on the entire Democratic Party. Ozzy should have expounded that, but I don't think he wants to be political. Well, I'm not Ozzy, and I am very political. I tell you, Eric Garner, those people got upset. Black Lives Matter went out and assassinated those two officers straight up. That was a Black Lives Matter thing, right? Probably McKeeson again. He's on Obama's table, and he's out there instituting all kinds of agitation and aggravation for the police, rioting. He's there every time with the Black Lives Matter. Okay, so then you got a couple others you might recognize. There's Philando Castile, Anton Garner, I believe. These are two others that were beat and killed down in Baton Rouge. Right, well now here you got Barack Hussein Obama over in Poland in Europe. He has no idea the facts of the matter or anything going on. But before he finds out the facts, he gets on the TV. And this has already been time after time. I don't know how many instances I've gave you already. But not once has he stood up at this point for the officers. All right? So he goes out in Europe on a tour of Poland, of Europe, and he tells, without any knowledge of the matter or facts, he's saying we have a systemic racism throughout the justice system, and that as Americans we should all be concerned. Now that isn't that isn't putting the hand on the back when the police actually need the support. Maybe that is why Ozzy's out there trying to turn things around, because they're tired of being the bad guy in all of it. When you got the head of the country and you think his words don't matter, they do. All right. Within a few hours after saying that, that we all, as all Americans, should be concerned. 5 officers were killed in Dallas at a Black Lives Matter rally, okay? 5 officers killed, 6 shot, wounded, all right? Within hours of his saying that. Immediately after he got done saying his speech, there were riots throughout the country. Now, as an officer going out every day, having the president dog on you like that, now you can spin that any way you want. And I know you're putting a lot of spin up there. You put a half hour, it seemed like, just defending a thug, Michael Brown, trying to jump all over Officer Wilson. That he was cleared. He was not only cleared by the city of Ferguson, he was cleared by the Attorney General, he was cleared by the Civil Rights Investigation, he was cleared by everybody. Okay? Now you got a man that uses his words to dog on the police, and within hours there are 5 officers laying dead, 6, wounded. Now I'm going to say, yeah, we got the leader. We know who it is. We know who's talking. All right. Now I am not an officer, and I have met Ozzy, and I know the job he does, and it's an extremely difficult job, and I have utmost respect for him. So to hear a man that's been doing this well over a decade, okay, well over a decade. Just as the head of his department alone, to say this man is politicizing the leader of a war on police, that is wrong. That is wrong. It's immoral. What you're saying is jumping on a man that has an officer in bed recuperating after doing this. He needs all the support he can get. The officers need our support. They don't need any of this political rhetoric going at them. They are investigated very thoroughly on every shooting. There are body cams available now. There's police to police. The officers now are afraid to pull the trigger and take any action in circumstances that could lead to them dying. I recently, last year, put my car, and I was the only one in this entire city and the next. From here to Coeur d'Alene, I was the only car and put a flag on the back of my truck and rode in Officer Moore's funeral procession. The only one. I live in a liberal city. I understand that. And I understand your aversion to the police. And I understand your aversion to government in general. But what we got going is a war. If you don't believe that, you need to do a ride-along. And I tell you what, when you do a ride-along, I guarantee you're going to put on a vest. Because you ain't going to want to go out there and do what these guys do. And then to go up there and talk and ask for some help, because he's the head of the roost, man. He's protecting his people. That's all he's doing. That is his only motivation. He knows that if he's gone, you're going to get some liberal Democrat in there, and he's going to tell his officers not to pull a trigger. And when he got seconds to decide, that's it, buddy, you're dead. You know, two officers over there in Kootenai County just got shot, or 3 of them. You know, the guy's in a wheelchair. He ain't going to have nothing happen to him. 3 officers, 1 here in Spokane. I mean, that's 4 in the last month. Right? You don't think there's a war? I've seen 2 officers get shot over in Seattle just having coffee. Right? Walked in, shot the officers at the table. Now, to me, that sounds like a war. Right? I don't see the officers going out, rousting people. They got body cams. They can get fired or in trouble for anything they say, do, or touch nowadays. It's becoming harder and harder because of people like you and the non-support that they're getting out in the public to do their job. Nowadays, they don't even, honestly, I don't even know if I'd respond if I got a call on a domestic violence. I might just wait a couple minutes, let it sort itself out before I got there. That's just my opinion. I know the guy. I know you don't. Maybe you should meet him before you make an opinion about a man.
Well,
5-minute rebuttals, right?
5-minute rebuttals.
Yeah.
Try to be quick because I want to unpack a little bit of what he said now that I've got something else. Again, I'm not trying to paint Aussie or really even law enforcement with a broad brush. I'm simply saying there are rules that govern what cops can and can't do, and they need to be abided by, and those rules ought to be enforced. I'm going to go down the line some of the things he said because I want to answer them directly. He said that this speech that Ozzy gave last weekend was simply asking for help. No, it was not. He was not asking for help. He was characterizing some sort of war that Barack Obama apparently meditatively began perpetrating against police in general. That's false. I asked for examples of policies, and basically saying, his examples of Barack Obama's war on the police is not saying things that he would have liked to have heard in certain instances of violence. Primarily when police had shot someone else. So in all of the cases except for the one in Dallas that he brought up, he's simply saying that Barack Obama didn't come to the verbal defense of police officers after these shootings when civilians expressed outrage at these police killings. That's not a war on police. That doesn't come. These aren't even the same ball. Hell, it's not even the same sport or stadium. So, for example, when he talks about, he kind of got out there in the wild there about BLM's assassinations. Now, I will admit certainly that tragic shooting in Dallas took place. But that person that did that was a nutter. They were disavowed by BLM. They didn't represent BLM. Here's the thing. The KKK does not represent everyone that has racist views. My dad's old. He's kind of racist. The Klan doesn't speak for him. Okay? In the same way, we can't say that some nutter that went off and shot at people, whoever they might be, represents BLM because he happened to have 1 or 2 of the same views, or even just sympathize with the cause. You can go to their website and see what BLM says they stand for. Killing cops, hurting white people, is not in there. Really, their stated aims is they want to include women and LGBTQ people in their civil rights movement that didn't participate in the civil rights movement in the 60s. That's actually their core credos. Little known fact. Okay, down the line here, so that answers the Dallas thing. He tried to say that Barack Obama made these comments in Poland about systemic racism, which was not news. This is well robustly established. Yeah, this has been ongoing for the entirety of our history. There's been some degree of this. And he's saying that riots broke out all across the country. Well, that is a gross exaggeration. Now, if he wants to say, show us specifically what riots broke out within that 5 hours, where they were happening, to establish that within a reasonable time frame, that rioting was going on across the country, I'd entertain it. But he didn't establish that. So, aside from that, he says Ozzy's a good guy. And a long-standing cop. I'm sure he is. All I'm saying is he was outside of his capacity last weekend, and the comments he made were inaccurate and harmful. He says cops get investigated any time they shoot someone, and the investigation is thorough. We've seen plenty of examples where that's not the case. Take ourselves back to AutoZone when the guy didn't even get shot. The guy was actually white and mentally disabled, and we had to fight tooth and nail just to actually put those guys up to trial. And if you really look at it in the final analysis, I can't think of the guy's name off the top of my head. The one guy that did get convicted, he got off pretty easy in the long run. Yes, he lost his career. He should have lost. Carl Thompson, that's the guy. should have lost his career. Way outside the Rubicon. What happened was on his watch, and that's one of the things we got to get back to when we're talking about police discharging their authority, especially when they need to use force. Yes, they have the right to use force responsibly. When they weren't born in a police uniform. Okay, they decided to take that job. It's an elected position, or it's elected in that they choose to take that job, and they have a responsibility to discharge their force responsibly and ethically and according to the rules. And if they are outside of that, they're responsible for it. And we have seen that time again, and now we're in a generation where people are done sick of it. And we're seeing a response to it. We're seeing popular outrage. It's not all that different from what went on in the South in the 60s, saying, you know what, people have had enough, and the public consciousness is against this. We simply want higher standards for our police officers if they're going to be able to use force. That's it. They should abide by the law that they enforce. He says that he lives in a liberal city. I beg to differ. He says I need to go on a ride-along. That's not indicative of anything. And the last time I interacted with a police officer who they would not have agreed with this guy's analysis. He was trying to just resolve a dispute between me and a locksmith. Majority of the jobs that cops do don't actually involve discharging weapons of violence. You know, it's making sure that a trucker has his permits when he's going down the street being oversized. Well, that's a lot of their work. So there's not a war on cops. He hasn't given you a single meaningful example.
All right. You got a body cam on you?
I do not.
Neither do I, because I'm not a cop. Higher standards in a body cam. Higher standards in internal investigations. Higher standards than civil probes, ombudsman. Higher standards in having to write a report for every interaction you have with a suspect in your job every day. Okay, higher standards than your uniform, than your vocabulary, the things you say. Higher standards. Okay, how high can we go? Right? When are we going to realize these guys are under pressure and they got a job to do? Right? Sometimes, man, I don't know you, but if I met you and you reached for your wallet, I'd probably knock you out or tase you or something immediately, because these guys are under pressure. Right? What happens out there every day after dark, you may or may not be aware of. Right? There's a lot of cops. Like a cop just recently in Whittier was shot trying to extricate a convict out of the car. Okay, he sees a guy crash a car. Okay, well, I better get this guy out of the car, right? Want to be a hero like that guy, the cop that got the woman out of the burning vehicle here. Okay, thank God for him too. Right? Law enforcement does a very difficult job. I don't think you understand what they do day in and day out. This guy goes up to help this guy out of this car accident, gets him out of the car, and gets shot by the dude who just got out of the car. Okay, that's the kind of a job these guys do. In Arizona, recently, okay, a good Samaritan had to stop and shoot a man that an officer was helping in a car accident. Helping a woman in a car accident or a man, all of a sudden they're shooting at him. The bystander had to stop and shoot the man. Now, I agree with the bystander. You spend a lot of time obviously taking the side against what I am saying. I'm saying respect the police. I'm saying they got a difficult job to do. I'm saying they're scared. I'm saying they're asking for help. I'm saying, you know, they have a lot of people watching everything they do, from the words they speak, to the way they walk, to whether they touch someone inappropriately. You want higher standards? Why don't you get some higher standards, right? Why don't you live one day like a cop? You know, see if you could do what they do. When you see someone out there doing crime, why don't you go stop it instead of putting on your iPhone? Right? I personally saw a man grabbing a package. I didn't have time to call the cops. I didn't have time to put on shoes or a shirt. I had to go out there and stop this man, because I know the cops probably got more serious shit to do. You know, they probably have a domestic violence situation 2 days ago where the man's crashed his car into a woman's home and is going to kill her. Right? So I'm not out here picking on the police in any way whatsoever. The man gets up, asks for help, right? Explains what he is going through, opens his heart, and you got to see him as some Republican, running for re-election, spewing venom at the Democratic Party. Maybe if the Democrats would say, hey man, we appreciate the job you do, you know, we understand that we've got enough cameras on your dashboard, on your body, we're going to put one on your gun possibly, that's okay. Even drawing a weapon is a use of force claim now. So I don't know what higher standards you want.
1 minute.
Maybe you haven't been to the academy. Maybe you haven't taken a polygraph to get into the academy. Maybe you haven't done the physical to get into the academy. Maybe you don't know what the hell you are talking about. Maybe you're a libtard snowflake that just likes to pick on the damn police and anybody that's Republican. That's my point of view. I'm pro-po, you're no-po. I support them.
All right, good job, gentlemen.